Because there is, well, speaking of blessing, of course, there is nothing physical or non-physical about it, actually. All it is that state of clarity, whether we call it the clarity of the consciousness or whatever we call it, of the mind, it doesn't matter. It's that state of that clarity that opens our heart, and that is blessing. And then whatever we absorb within that state, from that state, then everything is enlightened. Everything is, well, we can use the word pure. In Tibetan known as Takpinawa, pure vision. And then whatever happening that we are able to witness, all becomes enlightened and pure. Otherwise, of course, there is now no separate entity that is pure. All there is for us to open our hearts, and often the trick that works is to, as I said, to focus on something that really catches our attention. So it could be sometimes this strange means called the teacher. Sometimes it could be a friend. Sometimes it could be a particular member of one society. Sometimes it could be a stranger. Sometimes not necessarily a person, but a situation. We all have something that really, evokes our attention, where we feel that I want to do something more than what I normally do for myself. There is something there. So that's why I often say, think of the parents, parents or biological parents or non-biological parents draw on their kindness, and that's the sort of the most logical place to start. And when you think of their kindness, then it sort of releases all of the burden that we feel that I have more challenges, or I have more numbers of responsibilities. All of those burdens gets released, and then we are moved by it. So therefore, we can begin from that kind of, whether we call it mundane or extraordinary state, and from there, then we can draw on the blessing of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas through the means of this particular wisdom aspect called Chenrezig. Chen, in terms of, it's a respectful term for eyes, and Re as in sort of the globule sort of aspect, or the two pairs, and the Zik as in watch or look or see. So when somebody is awake, then when they open their eyes, when they look at something or someone, it's seen with compassion. It's seen, or it's looked at with kindness. So that's what it means, Chenrezig. So keep that in your mind, and that's the reference that we are going to use today, the Chenrezig, particularly the Chenrezig, the white Chenrezig, the four-arm Chenrezig, sitting in the meditation posture. I'm sure we have an image, yes, right there. I'm sure you have on your phones and postcards everywhere. It's just a symbolic gesture, nothing more. It's similar to a Chinese character, let's say. it's not really the artistic aspect of the imagery. It's not really the measurements of the imagery, or it's not the era or the age of the imagery. Instead, it symbolizes something. It symbolizes compassion and wisdom in perfect harmony, or commonly known as perfect union. And then that state of perfect harmony helps us to make sense of not pretty much, actually it helps us to make sense of everything. From the moment of birth, to the moment of death, and if there is a cause for rebirth, just that. If there isn't, so be it. Doesn't matter. All it's representing is that state of perfect harmony between emptiness and compassion. And they, although they may look like opposites, but nevertheless they are two great opposites can actually sort of work in perfect harmony. It can manifest in perfect union. For example, if you focus on the practice of Mahakala, it's known as in Tibetan Tukje Chenbushin, the Treva means that the great compassion in great anger. So of course, normally we cannot really associate anger with emptiness, right? It somehow doesn't seem, it seems sort of out of place. But it can, obviously it can. If a loving painter, let's say, meaning someone who really enjoys and thoroughly embraces beauty of color, can coordinate the most opposites of colors in perfect union. Yes, it works, and we can enjoy it. So in the same way, compassion and emptiness, they can definitely go together. Same with anger, same with any emotion. Basically, compassion in terms of the definitions that exist in Sanskrit is sometimes known as karuna, maitri, and so on. But it's actually an emotion. Actually, it's describing a particular aspect of emotion where it has immense yearning of some kind. We cannot go sort of deeper than that, or we cannot simplify more than that. It's a very powerful emotion, actually. And so that definitely goes, or that definitely sort of works in perfect harmony with emptiness. That's just a way of speaking, of course, a way of talking about it. When we get tired of two different opposites becoming one sort of thing, then we can use just one particular aspect. And then we can either focus just directly on the emptiness, or we can just focus directly on the compassion, without having to separate those two. And that's when we talk about inseparability. Because if you talk about compassion, we have no way around it. We are obviously talking about emptiness. And if you talk about emptiness, vice versa. So therefore, it's completely inseparable. It's just that when we use words, then when we try to describe it, when we try to define it, yes? Okay. More? Okay. A little bit louder. Okay. It's that inseparability aspect that we hone on towards the end. And the generating aspect of the meditation, of course, is equally important also with the dissolving, or one could say degenerating aspect of the meditation. It just, of course, we like the word probably dissolve better than degenerating, because when we are stuck with words, if we hear degenerate, it doesn't sound so auspicious, yes? But actually there's nothing inauspicious about it. It's just going with the flow of everything. The sun rises, the sun sets, the universe comes into being, again it degenerates, poof. So we are trying to think of the most sort of impressive aspects, and more than seeing maybe a giant star being born and that dissolving, what is most impressive is our ego being born and that ego dying. That's what's most impressive. If there's any sight, if there's any sort of impressive sight that we have to that we wish to witness, is none other than that. And so that's how this practice is presented, that we develop the most impressive ego, called the compassionate ego, and it's amazing, it's beautiful, it's powerful, it's beneficial, and it can do all the works of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas within a single sitting. We can benefit all sentient beings without having to do anything else. And at the same time, the dissolving aspect or the degenerating aspect, we completely let go. No matter how impressive, how mighty that ego may be, or how wonderful it may be, we completely let go and dedicate it. So, in short, that's the meditation of Chenrezig in this case. So, now for this first session, and then I will begin that meditation myself. So far, I think I've thought out loud long enough, and now it's time for some real work. And so now I will begin the preparatory phase of the initiation, and then in the second session, then or after that, then we will all meditate together. Last thing is no doubt, no hesitation. That's the only thing we have to ask of ourselves. No doubt, no hesitation, really. If we hesitate for a second, then the moment's gone, So, fortunately, of course, our moment is quite long, for the next, I don't know how many hours, so it's long enough. So, therefore, you have no, if I can assist you, then there is no reason to doubt, actually. We all have come this far. We all have gone through all kinds of puzzles, challenges, adventures, and we have come here. It has led us to this moment. And so therefore, now if you hesitate, it's completely pointless. So therefore, there is no reason to doubt. Now it's time to enjoy. When we doubt, we don't enjoy. So therefore, it's time to enjoy. It's time to let go of our doubts and hesitations. Then the full blessing will come. The full blessing. Whether we call it the blessing of body, speech, and mind, or anything, whatever there is, it will all come. That I can guarantee. Only don't hesitate, once again. Don't hesitate. Will that blessing come in a great white light? Or will that come in a multi-dimensional light? Whether it will come in a sense of breeze? Will it come in the form of certain miraculous experience? Don't use that kind of hesitation. Don't use that kind of doubt. All you need to do is just relax and enjoy. And there is a melody that is properly invented, of course, to assist us in to assist us in enjoying. That is the 100 syllables of the Dorje Sempa. So we will recite that together, in unison, in harmony, and that will help us sort of let the doubts and let the hesitations wherever it wants to stay, wherever it wants to go, wherever it wishes to come, we just sort of let it be. So, therefore now I'm sure the recitation will begin, and so please follow the melody, and you can simply recite the melody, or a better choice is to use the Dorje Sempa meditation, which you use when you do the Ngondro, and visualize on that aspect of the meditation, and then recite.